Welcome back. In light of Victor Arvidsson being traded today, I wanted to discuss Victor Arvidsson and take a look at his career thus far, and the fact that yes, he's an undersized player, which is how he's had it the 112th pick by the Nashville Predators in 2014. He's an undersized player who tries to play beyond his size, and became one of my favorite players immediately once I started watching Nashville in the playoffs back in 2016. I was like, I really like this Arvidsson kid. He could be a lot of fun to watch. So he's drafted 112th overall by Nashville. The following season, 2014-2015, he plays 6 games for Nashville, no points, 10 minutes and 15 seconds of ice time in the playoffs, no time in the playoffs. He only had 9 shots over those 6 games, of course, no goals. So not a whole lot to go on with from there, right? Other than, well, we'll see what he does in 2015-2016. Well, in 2015-2016, 56 games played, 8 goals, 8 assists, 16 points. He played 12 minutes and 24 seconds per game. In the playoffs, he had 14 games played, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. But I was really won over by how hard he worked and by how much he was willing to go to the dirty areas and play hard, even though he is one of the smaller players on the ice. And so I really admired his work ethic. He had 139 shots during the regular season. With the 8 goals, his shooting percentage was 5.8%. So that's low. And during the postseason, there's not any goals there. But I kept thinking, this Arvidsson kid is going to be really good. So he was one that I picked in the summer of 2016, and I said I thought he was going to be really good the year after. He exceeded my expectations. My expectations were that maybe he'd get 18 goals, right? Maybe he'd get around 20. I'm not going to go crazy with this. Well, he plays 80 games in 2016-2017, 31 goals, 30 assists for 61 points. His ice time, 17 minutes and 9 seconds per game. So, a lot more ice time benefits him. His shots, he had 246 shots that year. His shooting percentage, 12.6%. That's a good percentage. It's maintainable. There are years where guys will have a shooting percentage that's way too high or way too low. And we know that the numbers are off because the shooting percentage tells you how far off they are. In the playoffs, 22 games played as Nashville goes to the Stanley Cup final. He only had the 3 goals to go with 10 assists for 13 points. The 3 goals was a mild surprise for me. But again, playoff hockey, it's much tougher go. He is on the smaller side of things. 2017-2018, he plays 78 games, 29 goals, 32 assists, 61 points. 1 goal away from 30. This is only 3 years ago. So if you're the Los Angeles Kings, you're looking at those numbers and going, if we can get back to 20, and we'll go through this. He played 17 minutes and 45 seconds on average. In terms of shots, 247. So his shooting percentage drops to 11.7%. But again, that's maintainable. That's fine. In the playoffs, 13 games played, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. He is a good playoff performer. And the issue really is going to be a matter of, can LA, I don't want to say protect him, but can LA make it so that he's a lot less likely to get injured? 2018-2019, he only plays 58 games. 34 goals, however. So he could have got to 40 easily. Maybe 45. Not going further than that, but this is only 2 years ago. 34 goals, 14 assists, 48 points. His ice time, 19 minutes and 9 seconds per game. So first line ice time, playing very well. And shots, only 195. So shooting percentage was an incredibly high 17.4%. That's where you can bet on it coming down the year after. 17.4 is a little bit high. So in the playoffs, he plays 6 games, ends up with no points during those 6 games. So again, for me as a fan of Arvidsson, I see that and I say, wow, that's too bad. So going into the 2019-2020 season, you have a player who has had 2 30-goal seasons, 1 29-goal season. So things look good, right? Nashville, a team that needs goal scorers, and Arvidsson's here. But over 57 games, he has 15 goals, 13 assists, 28 points. He only played 16 minutes and 12 seconds. And I'm saying only because that's about a 3-minute per game drop from where he was the year before. 127 shots that year, 11.8% shooting percentage. So what's interesting is the shooting percentage is right around the same as 2 years before where he had 29 goals. he's not taking as many shots per game. He's not getting the same amount of ice time. In the playoffs, 4 games played, 3 goals. So in the bubble, he had 3 goals in 4 games. 2020-2021, the shortened season, of course, that we've had, 50 games, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points. The LA Kings are buying low on Arvidsson. Last year, with 15 goals in 57 games, if we'd played a full 82-game schedule, odds are he gets at least 20 goals. Maybe got as high as 25. We would be looking at a guy who, before this year, the low mark would have been around 23, 24, maybe 25 goals over the previous 4 seasons. That's not too bad, but the 10 goals stands out. 16 minutes and 36 seconds of ice time per game. So he got more ice time per game than he got last year. Shots, 151. He's also shooting more than he did last year, but his shooting percentage is 6.6%. That's too low. You look over his career, 5.8% was his rookie year. Since then, it's been between 11.7 and 17.4. I would say next year he at least should get back to 10%. At least. Which means if he takes 200 plus shots, that's a 20 goal scorer. So I think the LA Kings did some good homework on this. He only played the 2 games in the playoffs due to injury. And that's the other problem, right? So over his career, 385 games, 127 goals, 112 assists, 239 points for the Nashville Predators. 16 minutes and 34 seconds is his average ice time throughout his career. 1,114 shots and a shooting percentage of 11.4. So those match up kind of nicely, right? And again, if he even hits 10%, I think the Kings are happy with this trade. If his shooting percentage is 10%, considering he should get around 200 shots for the Kings, he should get ice time with the Kings. He may not have got with Nashville the last couple seasons. In the playoffs, 61 games, 12 goals, 15 assists, 27 points. So I'm going to get into the weeds on this just a little bit. And again, you know, I usually just focus on the main stats, but I'm going to get into the weeds a little bit. His Corsi has been very good throughout. His Fenwick, PDO, if you follow those stats, his stats have remained remarkably consistent. This is good. This means that the underlying stats aren't that bad. And so while Arvidsson had a rough year goal-scoring-wise, there are reasons for that. His goals per 60 minutes, as long as it's a season where he had a goal, right? So 0.7 his rookie year, 1.3 goals per 60 minutes played on the ice the year after, 1.3 the year after that, 1.8 in the 34-goal season, 1.0, and it's dropped back down to 0.7 this year. So his goals per 60 minutes on the ice, the same this year as in his rookie year. Assists per 60 minutes, 0.7 that rookie year as well, 1.3 the year after that, 1.4, then 0.8, 0.8, and 1.1 this year. So his assist totals have stayed relatively consistent when you look at the per 60 minutes. The goals definitely dropped. And again, I would expect it to get back to, at least I would think, 1 goal per 60 minutes. And it's not a crazy total. It's not, you know, some exorbitant amount that you would see at 1, but that would be my guess. Would be at least getting back to 1. He should be able to bounce back. Shots per 60 minutes. This tells you how often he's shooting. His first year, which was 6 games, 8.8. So 8.8 shots per 60 minutes. He only had 10 minutes per game and 6 of them. Yeah. Anyways, then his rookie year, he had 12.0 shots per 60 minutes. The following season, 10.7, 10.7 after that as well, 10.6, then 8.3, and then 10.9. So what's interesting is his shots per 60 minutes was highest his rookie year. His second highest was last year. So you can make the argument, well, and by last year I mean the season we just finished, right? Maybe he's shooting from a bad angle. Maybe he's not getting the high quality shots he normally does. Again, these are things that can change from year to year. So for Arvidsson, the overall numbers tell you that for a second and a third round draft pick, this is a good gamble by the LA Kings. A second round pick in the 2021 draft, yeah, that could be a big player. It could be a nothing. We don't know. This year's draft is a total wild card. And a third round next year, it's worth the risk. The Kings wanted to add a couple of top 6 forwards. Arvidsson is a top 6 forward, but he's had injury problems. So January 10th of 2017, he missed 2 games with an upper body injury. January 30th of 2018, missed 2 games with a lower body injury. April 3rd of 2018, missed a game with a lower body injury. November 10th of 2018, missed 3 games with a lower body injury. But it's the big one here was his broken thumb. In December 27th of 2018, he missed 21 games with a broken thumb. The good news is his injuries seem to be all over the place in that it's not one nagging injury with him. He missed 12 games. December 21st of 2019, he missed 12 games with a lower body injury. So, again, he misses games, but it's nothing that's a nagging injury. And, of course, May 17th of this year, he missed the last 5 games of the regular season, then 4 playoff games after with an upper body injury. So as long as he's healthy and at 5'9", 180 pounds with the style of hockey he plays, which he doesn't shy away from anything, it's going to be tough. So I don't know if the LA Kings are going to try to maybe ramp up his conditioning a little bit. I don't know if the Kings are going to work with him on any particular part of his game to try to minimize injury risk and bring up his goal scoring. But I really don't see a way that this becomes a loss for the Kings. Even look at the cap hit. And for Nashville, they get rid of this cap hit, which is they've been trying to get their cap numbers down. He signed on July 22nd of 2017, 7-year contract for $29.75 million. That's a cap hit of $4.25 million per season until 2024. Not only are you getting a guy who's young enough to bounce back, and the overall stats would tell you he should bounce back, but you're getting a guy who's not breaking you at the bank with your cap hit, an LA Kings team that's still been going through a rebuild. So we'll see how it works. We'll see if he can get back to being the Arvidsson that scored 30 goals or even just, say, a 20-goal scorer. I think Kings fans, I think the LA Kings themselves, if he scores 20 next year, I think they're happy. But the potential is there. I'm not saying it happens. I'm saying the potential is there for a huge bounce-back season for Arvidsson. The interesting thing is, just a few days ago, I was like, I'm going to have to do my bounce-back candidates for next year. And he was already on the list. He absolutely was on the list for bounce-back candidates. And going to LA, a team that I felt this year they were on an upswing, which didn't really come through, but I still think they're a team that's on an upswing, and I still think they're a team to watch next season. Adding Arvidsson could be huge for them. This is a smart move, I think, by the team. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.